Okay, so I'm getting my bike ready. My bike.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's see.
It has brakes. I just gotta hook them up. So I won't be riding with my brakes without brakes anymore. I got hit by a car the other day. I got hit on Thursday. It was my fault. The traffic, it was so thick, it came to a halt, and there was a gap in between. And I was just trying to go right in front and go the other way. And that cab driver, he just didn't allow it to happen. He took off. He wasn't going anywhere, and he hit me. He hit the front wheel, and I went down, and I stayed still just to make sure everything was okay. And I moved my wrist. People from the sidewalk were observing. The guy from the beer store ran out, and he helped me up, and he asked me if I was okay. I said, yeah, I'm fine. And I allowed the taxi driver to help me up, and I grabbed his arm, and I did it with vigor. I came up, and just to make sure I was physically okay, and he knew that I was physically okay. Because he thought I was gonna pull him down maybe for a second, but no, I wasn't gonna do that. I just he felt the strength, and he never said too much. He's never said anything. He just said, "Are you okay?" And I just took off like a butterfly, man. I went on my way, and everything was fine. So no one to blame. No, nothing happened. It was as if nothing happened. And I would rather have it wet that way in that situation. So if you're I was backwards riding. So dudes, if you're a backwards rider, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that you're gonna meet yourself into an accident. It's just to be prepared, anticipate anything and everything without anticipating it to that actual. If you anticipate the wrong way, you're asking for trouble. So all I'm saying is just be prepared and be ready for the fact that how you're going out there, and so you have to be extra careful. So you're not in a rush to go anywhere, really. You're not in a rush to get somewhere. Of course, we are at times, but what I'm trying to say is that just to the point where you can minimize your injury or prevent it completely. Brakes or no brakes, okay? Your actions will definitely speak.
pyramid without using wheels, pulleys or winches, astonishing work, and accidents must have been common. But the workers' bones suggest that many survived injuries, thanks to an astonishing level of medical care. When the weight of a crushing stone virtually destroyed a worker's lower arm, there was only one medical solution: amputation. Amazingly, there's evidence that not only was this performed, but that the patient survived.
These are the two bones of the arm, and they are amputated about this level, about 1/3 of the arm. For this individual, we have also the upper arm, and you can see which is this part of the bone, and you can notice that it's curved because this individual were having this amputation at this level, so he used to use his hand like this, and this causes the curvature in the bone as we see here, and this means that this person lives for many years after this amputation.
Until now, no one ever thought such surgery was survivable at the time when the pyramids were built, or that the workers received such intensive medical care. So, far from being slaves, it shows how the workers were highly valued, and just how important this wall building project was to ancient Egypt. The discovery that the workers were well treated, and that they were divided into gangs, revealed how the pyramid planners organized their men.
It's hard to tell.
It also gave Mark Lehner clues to help him solve his latest problem. He was finding the streets of the pyramid town were lined with strange big buildings, featuring long gallery-like rooms. Mark was puzzled.
So at first we thought, well, we don't know what this is, it's quite alien, and it doesn't fit our expectations at all.
Were these long rooms also for food production? What could the pyramid builders have been doing here? Then one morning, Mark had an idea. These galleries, which are more than 20 meters in length, could have been where a whole crew of workers slept. Maybe this was the dormitory for the Perfection Gang, or even a gang like the Friends of Cooper. But Mark thinks it took about 25,000 workers to build the pyramid. There's only room for about 2,000 in the gallery, so where did the rest of the workers sleep?
It's a good chance that the entire work site, the entire construction yard, was in fact a campsite. It's a very reasonable assumption that people were camped all over the floor, even on the pyramid itself, during the time it was being built.
So maybe some of the hard labourers, the workforce that was probably brought in seasonally, lived closer to the pyramid and were cared for with good quality food by people from the city. But overseers like Nesut Wesser, the man whose tomb was being opened in September, and the skilled workers on the job were not campers. Where did they live? Mark was still missing key parts of this picture, but that was about to change. Towards the end of their digging season, as Mark's team pushed the edges of the site further than ever before, they uncovered a critical part of the puzzle.
It was only in the last few weeks when we moved this far east and we began to find these little chambers, these little houses.
The city of the pyramid builders was now making a lot more sense. Here in this corner were the houses for the more permanent pyramid workers and their families. The craftspeople, the overseers, the potters, weavers, and carpenters. Based on these new discoveries, Mark Lehner was now able to create the most comprehensive picture of the Giza plateau ever seen. the world's first industrial city, surrounded by houses for skilled craftsmen and their families, an extended campsite of seasonal workers. It was an incredibly well-organized operation for an extraordinary building project. And one of the key workers behind this organization was the overseer, Mesut Wesser. On the 16th of September 2002, in the search for further insights, his sarcophagus was ready to be opened.
We're going to do our best here to bring our camera in. I think there is a screen. There is a screen. Tell me what you see, guys. I'm seeing this man is resting beautifully, and the skeleton inside was a perfectly preserved skeleton, lying on its side like all ancient Egyptian burials, facing east towards the rising sun. But was there anything buried with the skeleton that could tell us more about Mesut Wesser, the man? You see any artifacts, Johnny? I can, and let's Jay, right now. I don't want to disturb this. Every piece of this carefully will be taken to the lab for X-ray. They will find out his age, when did he die, any kind of diseases. The skull seems to be completely intact. What my gosh. I can use this beautiful face and give this man the testimony that the Egyptians were the builder of the pyramids. It's really a message from the Mesut Wesser, and I'm glad that this man saved his body.
The day after the opening of Mesut Wesser's sarcophagus, bone expert Dr. Asad arrived to examine the body. As soon as she picked up the pelvic bone, a few things seemed clear to her experienced eye.
He's a male. He's not so old. I think he's about 30 years old.
And when she looked into his face, she could see that he'd been a large, strong man.
As we can see, the skull is big, and the teeth are large teeth, and also this angle between the nose and the forehead. All this can tell us that he is a male.
But an intriguing question remained. Mesut Wesser had the grand title of Overseer of Administrative Districts carved on his tomb. What could his skeleton tell us about the role he would play? The clues were in the bones from his back. Dr. Azar immediately noticed the thickening of the edges of the backbone. This damage was evidence that he had spent a few years hauling stones or carrying heavy loads. So this man, whose title suggests would have had direct contact with the pharaoh, had also once laboured on the tomb. Is this evidence that men could work their way up to become the boss? That the ancient Egyptians had a far more mobile society than anyone imagines? It's a fascinating new development in the emerging story of building the pyramids. But the most significant discovery was yet to come as the robot inched its way towards the secret door. The mystery of what lay beyond would soon be solved. Early in September 2002, the robot team returned with a new robot and battled with the problem